Welcome back to the channel, everybody. You already know, Norris, back with another episode, going over the most recent rap albums of last year and this year, albums or mixtapes. I got a new album to react to for today, but before I go over it, the new mixtape, #INDICA, that's available everywhere. Go ahead and listen to that mixtape. I got a new song dropping for December 4th. This one's called Waldo, dropping right at 12 o'clock a.m. right on the dot. December 4th, after that track, for the 14th, I'm gonna drop another one. That's all the music I'll be dropping for this year. And then January 4th, I'm gonna continue the same thing, dropping 3 tracks every month up until I drop a EP, an album, or a mixtape. So for next year, I'm already working on a new album that I'm gonna release for summer of next year. I'll keep you guys posted about any future release, any EPs, mixtapes, or anything like that. I'll keep you guys posted. We're gonna do a new album for this episode. Today we're gonna do the new album by LUCKI, Gemini. This is an album that he released in the summertime of this year. I'm gonna break this one down just like I do on every other episode. I'm gonna talk about this album track by track, give you guys my point of view, how I feel about the album through the production, through the lyrics, his songwriting. I'm also gonna play a few of the songs, give you guys a snippet of how it sounds like. It'll be easier to understand my point of view about the album, and it'll be easier for me to explain and break down the album in terms of how I feel about it. I'll give you guys a rating at the end of the video, just like all the other episodes. So we're gonna get right into this one. All the tracks I'm gonna play off of this album, Gemini by LUCKI, off of his SoundCloud account. The first track I'm gonna play, this one's called Oh Love.
Damn, hey, you got me beat with that. I don't even know how you sleep with that. Got the love real keep with that. Before this shit too deep for that.
This one's called Exotic.
I feel like I'm slamming. I feel the mama too. I wasn't even with her. She told me she found. I'm gonna tell her to know. One of my old.
This one's called Signed Up.
I be shaking this shit in my sleep. If you scared, then you get lost. I turn on to a mafia boss. Made nigga like in a movie, but ain't no credit, you get knocked off.
This last one I'll play, this one's called X6.
I know that. Shorty at the feds, he got his throw back. Told him I buy auto walk till he back in case it's done down. She's the good for.
So LUCKI, this is a little bit of a newer rapper, very well known for his mixtapes. He's from Chicago, Illinois. A cool fact about him, LUCKI is his actual birth name. This isn't a rapper that I grew up listening to. I recently got into his music. It's pretty cool that his actual name is LUCKI. I thought that was just a rap name that was chosen for him. He had a completely different birth name, but LUCKI's his actual birth name, which is a pretty cool fact about him. And he also produces. He's a rapper and a producer. He produces most of the beats that he raps on, which is another really cool fact about him. I always have a lot of respect for rappers that produce their own records, just because it's like a whole nother thing that you have to do, more work that you have to go through. His beats are really good for the most part. Most of the songs that I've heard from him, his beats are usually like really good. So pretty cool thing that he can make his own beats. So just like I was saying, this is a newer rapper that I recently got into. He hasn't been around for that long. I think he started his career in like 2015, so like a very new rapper. The first thing that stood out when I first heard his music, his production, man. And I'm pretty sure he produces most of the records that he's on, and he gets like a little bit of assistance. But on this record here, Gemini, the production stands out in a big way, man. I think his beat making is very high level. Definitely the highlight of the album. Probably one of the best produced albums I've heard so far this year. It's definitely up there, man. It's got to be like top 5 best produced albums that I've heard. He's got some producing skills, man. I like his sampling game, and his drums are like super clean, very well mixed beats. You can really tell that he pays a lot of attention to his production, and maybe he started off as a producer and then started to rap. It really sounds like that. Yeah, man, like the production stands out in a big way for this album, and definitely my favorite part about the album, his rapping. Now, I honestly have a like a lot of different things to say about his rapping, because I think he's a bad rapper but also a good rapper. It's like it varies depending on the beat, because he kind of switches his style up. He uses the mumbling rapping as a style more so than his way of rapping, because I think there's a lot of rappers out there where like they can't go outside of the mumble rap. Mumble rapping is just how they rap. There's some rappers like that, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot more of the newer rappers that you hear in the game, and they can't go outside of mumble rapping because that's just how they rap. With Lucky, the one thing I've noticed, he purposely mumbles on some tracks and then he'll switch it up and then he'll not mumble. It's almost like a style that he turns into like a tool and uses it on and off. So not every track he's like mumbling. It's only some tracks, and then you'll hear other tracks where it's like there's no mumbling at all. Like you can crystal clear understand everything he's saying word for word. So it's an interesting thing that he's doing. It's almost like he understands the value in the mumble style of rapping, the type of fans that it can attract. He'll switch back to just normal rapping where he's barring up and you can completely understand what he's saying. It's almost like he understands what that style can do for his music, so he keeps both styles in the album. He'll some songs he'll mumble, and then some songs he won't. So it's an interesting thing that I don't really see a lot of rappers do. The only other rappers I can think of that does that a little bit is Lil Yachty. That's the only rapper I can like think of right away that does a similar thing, where like some songs he'll be mumbling on it, and then other songs it's like completely crystal clear, word for word. You can understand what he's saying when he's rapping. So it's like, and on this album it's almost like a half and half thing. It's like 50% mumble and then 50% like normal like rapping. You can understand what he's saying. So it's an interesting thing that you don't really hear from a lot of rappers. But like I definitely rather him rap normally than mumble, because the thing with his mumble rapping, you can't understand what he's saying sometimes. You gotta listen like really closely, and I'm not really trying to do that. I feel like a good rap song, or just any good song, you gotta be crystal clear with your lyrics so that the listener can just enjoy the music as a whole, rather than enjoying the beat and then trying to understand what you're saying with your lyrics. So then, you know, like they can piece it together like a little later. It's better to understand everything as a whole, so then, you know what I mean, like the memory is still fresh about like the whole track as like a whole piece, if you get what I'm saying. Like I explained that a little bit weird, but yeah, like I'm not the biggest fan of mumble rap, so he should have just stuck to like making every song crystal clear instead, and I'd have more respect for this album. Another issue that I have with the album, on top of like the mumble rapping that you'll hear throughout the album, the mixing is kind of bad. In terms of the vocals, the mixing is pretty bad. I think with the production, it's pretty legit. I think the production is like, I have no issues with the production, because even the mixing with the beats is pretty clean. When it comes to the vocals, man, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like he paid a professional to master the music, because there's some songs where the vocals way too loud and the beats are just getting buried in the background, and all you hear is like the vocals on the track, and the voice is just overpowering everything on the track, including the bass, which I didn't think was possible. But like that's another issue that I have with the album, and it's pretty throughout too, like not just one or two tracks, but there's a handful of tracks. I'd probably say half of the album, maybe a little more than half the album, the songs aren't mixed properly. The engineer could have paid a little more attention to mastering the music a little bit better. It throws me off when I'm listening to the tracks and he's mumbling on top of it, so it just makes it even worse. It just throws off the vibe of you as a listener trying to connect with his music. Like he could have done a little bit of a better job mastering every song to make everything sound a little more consistent in terms of like the mixing and the volume levels. It would have made a huge difference, and it makes me like not like a handful of songs on the album specifically because of that. Just like I was saying earlier, there's some tracks where he's mumbling, and there's some tracks where it's just completely clear vocals and you understand all the lines and the bars that he's dropping. Through the songs where he's not mumbling, you can clearly hear that he has musical talent and he has rap skills. When you're listening to some of the songs on the album, it makes it a little bit annoying that he goes to the mumbling and I can definitely understand why he's doing what he's doing. I think it's a business tactic at the end of the day, using the mumble rapping just to attract the type of music listeners that's gonna come back again and again and again, no matter how much songs you put out there. I can definitely understand why he's sticking to the mumble rapping on some of the tracks, but he has the musical talent and the rap skills to make an album where it's only crystal clear lyrics and it's just straight barring up and rapping instead of doing the mumble stuff. It just like distracts me the entire time. It makes me like not like the album. The album could have been a lot better if he just stuck to crystal clear lyrics the whole way, because he has the talent and skills to come up with lines. He's a money making type of rapper. He's under a label, you know what I mean? He's working with a bunch of people that are trying to make money off the music. So at the same time, you can understand why he uses the mumble rapping. I think he's a skilled enough rapper where he doesn't have to rely on that, just bar up, and the production can just carry the music at the same time. Because if he's the reason for all the production on this album, or just even all the music he's put out in his career, man, he can just like rely on the production, you know what I mean, bar up on his beats. I think he would gain more fans out of doing that. I think he's one of the best producers I've heard so far, maybe out of like the new school era of producers that we have. Definitely one of the best beat makers out there. All in all, man, I think the album's decent, man. I don't hate it and I don't love it. It's not a classic, but definitely far from being one of the worst albums I've heard. It's like right in that like middle. I think the production is the highlight of the album. It carried the album the whole way. Probably one of the best produced albums I've heard so far out of all the albums I reviewed. I think his lyrics are okay too. Like they're all right. Even when he's at his best, I don't think he's the best rapper in the world, but he's definitely above average, and he displays that on this album. It's 50-50. Half the songs, he sounds like he's really trying to go off on the beat, and then on the other half of the songs, it's all mumble raps. I really hate mumble rapping because it's like, it's not even a stylistic thing. It's like you can't understand what the rapper's saying. So then like, it's not even rap music anymore. It's like a huge part of rap music is to understand the metaphor that the rapper is dropping, or else like if you miss the metaphor, it makes it a little difficult to enjoy the music. You're just enjoying it for the production, I guess, and the rapper like doesn't really mean anything. That's the biggest reason why I really don't like mumble rapping. I respect what it represents because it does make a lot of rappers rich and a lot of record labels rich. It does bring money in because there's a market for it, but I think he's far too skilled of a rapper and a songwriter, lyricist to have to go that route. Like, he doesn't have to mumble rap. I think if he made all of his songs crystal clear, I think he'd be good. Like, I think he'll still be respected. He'd probably still make the same amount of sales and plays and listens just as much as his mumble raps. That's my biggest issue about the album. Why I think it's like just an okay album. Otherwise, it would be one of my favorite albums I've heard so far this year. But the production is like, yo, the production, he did his thing, man. Especially if he's responsible for every single beat on the album. That's impressive, because I think the production is like, so a lot of these beats are beats that I would rap on myself or like just listen to on a daily. So after saying all that, in terms of a rating, I'm giving this one a 7.4 out of 10. If it wasn't for the production, it would probably be in the 6 area. I can't lie, because he's not the best rapper. Even when he's at his best, I don't think he's like that good of a rapper. And on top of that, 50% of the songs are like all mumble. So it's like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of lines that he's dropping on this that I can't even understand, because I can't understand what he's saying. So it's like, some songs is just like, he's mumbling so hard. It's just like, what is this? What am I listening to? So 7.4, man. The production definitely saved them on this one. Lucky, Gemini, another album reaction, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. Go listen to #INDICA. Mixtape is out everywhere. Waldo's dropping for December 4th. I got plenty more music and content coming up. I got lots of tracks coming up, man. Make sure you guys subscribe, like the video, comment, let me know what you guys think about the episode. I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate the likes, the views. Y'all helping me a whole lot, man. I'm gonna come back with more music and more content. That's all I gotta say for this one. I'm out. Peace.